It's the magic of the musicals on your favourite local radio station. It's Alex Belfield talking to the biggest stars of musical theatre, and they don't come any bigger than Summer Strallen. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you, Alex.
I can't imagine what it must be like to be you, because you've got everything. You're gorgeous, you've got the hair, you've got the voice, you've got the roles, people respect you. You're everything that I'm not, really.
Well, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Well, I've had, I've really worked hard for what I've got, and I'm really proud of myself for that. I have had obviously a very musical theatre background. Both my parents were in it, my aunt obviously, and my grandmother runs a dancing school. So we, Scarlett, my sister, my older sister, and I, and my two younger sisters, Zizi and Sassy, have been doing it for since we were tiny babies, and we kind of just had a niche for it, obviously, and our parents, they sort of thought, well, you've got nice feet and you can sort of sing a note, and so we'll push you in the right direction. If we'd been good at tennis, they probably would have made us do that, or anything else. But we just happened to be good at that, and it was in the genes.
And you've got a Showbiz auntie? I hadn't heard.
Yes, yeah, Bonnie Langford. She's wonderful. She's lovely to have as an aunt. I mean, the thing is, everyone probably thinks that at Christmas time we're all sort of around the piano singing and dancing and all sorts of things, but we're really not. We sort of sit down and watch Doctor Who instead.
I was with her earlier on in the summer when she was doing that ice skating thing around the country,
yeah.
and over the years you get to talk to her a ton of times because she's always in things. You get people like her who are mocked, like Christopher Biggins, and people take the mickey, but what they don't realise, the reason she's as popular today as she ever was is because she's funny, she's good at what she does, she's just such a personality that you want to get her on a show. And when you go and see her live, you realise that it's something very rare to find somebody that big who fills the stage, yet she's tiny.
She's tiny. She's 5 foot nothing, and I think you have to have sort of, experience obviously is a great thing. I personally think that anyone who's training to be in musicals should try and get out and do a panto or do a summer season somewhere to to get the experience of being in a theatre and filling those stages, I think that people can get swallowed up, as you say, and she's just such a fantastic performer and knows exactly what she's doing. I think that's what comes across, is that she just is so confident in not in herself. Everyone has their own little insecurities, but she knows how to perform.
And then we look at what she's been in and what you're in now. The Sound of Music is probably the most famous musical ever.
Yeah.
And you're playing the lead role. And then I look at your sister, who's now on Broadway, playing Mary Poppins.
Yes. Julie Andrews, ahoy, we are.
It's bizarre, isn't it, in a way? And it's not nepotism. You can say, show business is like that, sisters get the roles. But actually, it doesn't work like that. If you're not good enough, you don't get in, no matter who your auntie is.
No, I think that Scarlett and I, and sisters around who are in musical theatre, generally kind of don't have a jealousy or a competition, but I think because the other one looks like they're enjoying it so much. Well, it was this way for me. The way that Scarlett was at Arts Educational in Chiswick, and I was at the school down the road, just normal school, and I saw what a wonderful time she was having, and I thought, oh, that looks quite good, and then she'd get a ballet exam, and then I'd be like, oh, maybe I should get that ballet exam, or so it was kind of like trying to follow in her footsteps, and that's how we've kind of got to where we are, because I've respected and thought so highly of her and been so proud of her and what she did, that I then wanted to follow in her footsteps, and so I'm going to see her in October, and I honestly, when I get on the plane, I won't be able to stop crying. I'm going to be a complete mess. I'm going to need counselling. She was bad enough when she was here doing Mary Poppins, and we're both, I guess we're both big fans of Julie Andrews, and so we've watched her work, and I guess we love bringing that sort of element of her to our performances, and so I hope that works. Yeah.
And of course, with what you're doing now with The Sound of Music, you've either got it or you ain't. You're not going to get a 22-stone Maria, are you? Really?
No. I think, I agree. Obviously there is an element of you bringing whatever you have to the role, and obviously, like, so Connie Fisher and I are very, very different, but that's because I think I'm more sort of physically more I've got a dancer's background. I'm more sort of less I don't want to say boyish, but less down to earth with it. I think I sort of bring a bit more I don't want to say flair, but more sort of
femininity, certainly.
Yeah,
I think, definitely.
yeah. So, and I think that whoever does Bert next will bring whatever he has, and so, and hopefully that'll be as good as Gavin.
I suppose for any actress or actor to originate the role is the best thing, because then everybody talks about you. To take over from somebody like Connie Fisher, who again last year sat in the same chair you're sat in, and we talked to her about the role. She felt she'd done it enough. Some have said she did it too long, because you're so associated with that role. And on this programme, we're speaking to Lee Mead, who's still Joseph. He's leaving in January. But how do you ever get away from that? It must be it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? You want that big role and you want that big fame, but how will anybody ever consider us anything other than Maria?
Well, I think it's different, obviously, for those two, because, they have been brought in by the public. And so, they will be associated with that. I think other people, on the other hand, like Ruthie or like Scarlett or anyone like that, who do originate roles, I think because they're known for doing other things, people don't just associate them with that specific role, even if they've won an Olivier for it or anything like that. Jenna Russell isn't going to be associated with Sunday in the Park with George for the rest of her life, because she's done other things brilliantly, and so I think it's unfortunate for them, but I think they'll move on from it, and they're talented enough people to be able to get other things. So
you and your sister, you've become personalities. And I've said it before on this programme, there's so many dull people who seem to have that knocked out of them at stage school. But it really is worth keeping it. My advice to anybody would be keep your personality, because that's how you get the big roles. There's fewer of them. Yeah.
Well, and also, who are you if you don't have your own personality? Scarlett and I are very, as I say, at home, we don't listen to musicals. I go and see a musical if I have friends in it, but it is my job, and I have my own life as well. And I think that's a very particular part that you have to remember, that, it is a job. And I guess also that's why we try to be as professional as we can and be there as much as we can, because that's what you do in your job. If you're a vet, you have to be there for 7 days or 6 days a week, and so we do try and sort of keep that, and also keep our lives private. And so that's obviously the difficulty that people like Lee or Connie might have, because they've had that exposure. We're lucky in that respect, but we just try to keep it as close to down to earth as possible, because you don't want to lose yourself in the whole fantasy of it. You go to work to escape for 2.5 hours, and also the whole point of it is to make people, the audience, have 2.5 hours of happiness, and I hope that that's what we do.
One of the things that does depress me about this business, musical theatre, often they come out not realising who you are. How do you deal with that? Because that's so sad.
I think it's kind of... personally, I do it, as I said, to make people happy. I don't do it for people to see me at the stage door and say, "Oh my God, that was amazing," because at the end of the day, I would hope that I would have done a good enough job anyway for them to say, "Oh, I had such a fantastic time." That's more relevant than saying, "Oh, Summer, I want your autograph. Summer, can I do this? Summer, it doesn't really matter if they... obviously there are other people in the sort of the business of show that, can't actually show anything and are completely untalented and are making thousands of pounds for doing nothing. And that, I think that's what the problem is that, the people who, I guess, I don't want to say deserve, but the people who have worked hard to get to where they are generally, yes, left behind more so. And, not that I think that people in musical theatre would want that celebrity. I don't think they would, because, it comes with all the cons that you just don't want, your privacy being taken away and all of that. But I think as far as the media is concerned, it's gone a bit crazy.
The money side isn't really why you come into musical theatre, is it?
No, it's as I say, it's for people's enjoyment, and the problem with musical theatre is that there are wonderful shows, such as Drowsy Chaperone that I was in last year, that was that died a death, but it was so wrong, because it was just a fantastic show and everyone who came to see it said so, but because it didn't have a soap star or a Jordan or or whoever who's in the public eye at that, Cheryl Cole, because they didn't have that in it. People didn't want to come, and so I think that's the sadness.
I don't know about you, it seems to me right now, you're right, the Queen musicals, the ABBA musicals, the Take That musicals are all over everywhere and they're very popular. Could that be to do with the economy as well, that it's very expensive to see a show, and unless you're sure you're going to enjoy it, you're not going to take the risk?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's more that people should feel that way. I mean, they book a holiday to Spain in August knowing that it's going to be sunny, and it's now the price of a holiday to Spain to go to the theatre for a family of four, So I agree with the public in that respect. But saying that, I think if there were more things maybe on the television with people with established people from musical theatre who were becoming more household name, then it might help out.
I've got it. Right. Musical stars do cooking and gardening. We can start a show, can't we?
I think so.
With no singing, just cooking and gardening.
Both. No, I think both. I think singing while cooking and
barbecuing,
gardening.
You see? They try to do together. We'll be back next with Summer Strallen here on your favourite local radio station. We're back with our remaining moments with Summer Strallen here on your favourite local radio station. Let's talk about the Sound of Music then. Is this for you the biggest thrill you've ever done in terms of your career? It's very high profile. You've done telly as well, so I suppose it's a tricky one, isn't it?
I had a fantastic time on Guys and Dolls, I must say. Guys and Dolls was probably the peak of my career so far because although I wasn't playing a lead, I was, just a featured role in it. It was the excitement of, obviously I was younger than I was 19 and it was all very exciting having a A-list movie star and Jane Krakowski being so popular with Ally McBeal. Ally McBeal was a massive cult thing when I was 16, 17. So that was amazing because we'd go out onto the stage and we'd look and there'd be Keanu Reeves and Lucy Liu and Albert Finney and Helena Bonham Carter watching, and we were like, it was crazy. But that was fantastic. And but then after that, it's kind of been the only way is up, really. It's just been fantastic for me. Regent's Park was a joy to do. I loved doing Midsummer Night's Dream there, playing Helena. That was wonderful. My first play to be doing quite a hefty role in it was just fantastic. And then obviously Drowsy Chaperone out of that, and then this, and this has obviously been the most high profile for me personally, and I've really enjoyed it. Hollyoaks was my first sort of television, big role on television, so that was brilliant to learn a new skill. I'm very into learning new things, and so that's why next for me I'm trying to sort of maybe do the film thing and maybe do a bit more television, because I don't know so much about that. I know about musicals, I've been in them, and I love doing them, and I'm never ruling them out because they are such fun. But yeah, I think new things are sort of on the horizon.
And you've seen the rats and mice running around Star Dressing Room number 1 at the Palladium. Where do you go from there?
Exactly. It's not as glamorous as it looks back there.
And as for the show itself, it's a hard slog, it appears to me. There are some shows that I think I could phone it in, and I could probably appear in it myself, knowing nothing about anything. But your role is it, really, in the show. We're all watching you. You're really off the stage. Yeah. How do you feel at the end of those 2 show days? Because that fascinates me.
Saturday can be quite tough. I do 6 a week, so I'm very lucky, and it's not been too tiring for me because physically it's not as much as I normally do. Compared to Drowsy Chaperone, it's not as physically demanding, but mentally it's more of a challenge for me for the acting side, and so it's. Yeah, I am off sort of a majority of about 5 minutes in the whole 2.5 hours. So yeah, it is. It can be quite tough. I have a little. I generally sort of have my dinner in my dressing room and have a little snooze if I can, or watch. Well, I'm watching X Factor at the moment. They're completely just crazy people who think they're wonderful.
And actually, that was going to be my next question. Why you? Why did you get this role? How do you know you've got it when those people on X Factor in those first 6 programs also think they've got it and clearly haven't got anything? Well,
that's the secret. It's not thinking that you've got it. I hopefully have a bit more humble pie than that, and sort of, you know, it can always be better. You know, you can always be better. There's always someone out there who can do a higher kick or can sing a higher note, you know. And so obviously you can't look for that too far into it, otherwise you would never want to leave the house. But yeah, you have to always remember that that you can always be better. That's one of our family mottos, really.
And how did you feel when that phone rang and the person said, "You are Maria," and you'd got the gig? Can you explain what emotion went through your mind? Was it terror? Was it joy?
Well, because my agent also said, "And you're going to be in Hollyoaks for 5 months." I was very pleased, because I'd actually said to him that I wanted to do some more television, you know, try and get into television. And so it was wonderful in that respect. But Maria, I mean, I'd been in the Sound of Music when I was 6, playing Marta, and Liz Robertson was Maria, and she came to see it the other day. And I think that was the day that it actually set in that I was Maria, and I was, you know, and I was in the star dressing room at the Palladium, because I was saying the lines to Marta at the time, you know, "Oh, pink's my favourite colour too." And I thought, this isn't my line. I'm supposed to be saying the line before, you know. And I think that's when it actually sort of set in that I've come to this now, you know. And from that, being 6 and playing Marta, to now actually playing the lead role is kind of, that's when it sort of set in.
And how fantastic knowing how the kids are feeling watching you as Maria, knowing that maybe one day they can feel how you're feeling now, knowing how you felt then.
Yes, exactly. If I can quite understand that, yeah. It is great. It's great to think that. And I mean, obviously times have changed, but I'd still try and sort of keep that element of mystery about me to the kids, so that they feel like they want to know what it's like.
And finally, about Hollyoaks, I don't like it. Well, there's no ugly people in it, and I watch it just feeling incredibly inadequate. Why don't they stick a few fat ginger people in it?
I don't know.
It's sickening.
You're
how
not fat.
No, but it's sickening. I am. Come on, you're just being nice. It is sickening how good-looking all those people are. It's not real life, is it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think that Hollyoaks is obviously a very, very small place, and you know, yes, the majority of the people who live there are pretty or good looking. So, but I think, you know, on television, it's a fantasy world, and people shouldn't read too much into it.
So you're saying people don't want to watch normal, ginger, ugly people like me? Thank you. No,
we'll
leave it there. No, I think enough is enough. We've talked for long enough. Summer, you're just brilliant at what you do, and you always have been. And it is so great that you're able to do it, because there aren't that many roles, and there's so many fabulous people out of work, and you don't realise how many people, until you do this for so many years and you see how many people you thought were brilliant then have gone now. And you consistently seem to be getting the roles, which is so great.
Touch wood.
And touch wood, exactly. And I think it is down to your spirit and your belief in the business, which is actually, it's hard work. It's not about the tits and teeth, is it?
No, it really isn't. I think, you know, you have to build a reputation for yourself, for one, which is why I guess Scarlett and I do work so hard, obviously, because we have our sisters who are then coming up as well. And I think that's a testament to our family as a whole, is that people can have faith in us. They know that when we come into an audition, they go, yeah, I know her sister worked for this, and she did great. So yeah, we'll you know, and that's maybe where we get the help, you know, because but it's not help in the fact that they say, oh well, she's her sister, so I'll let her come. You know, it's not like that. But I think you just have to really put the work in and enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, then don't do it. You know, but it should be an enjoyable thing. And well, until the blood, sweat, and tears come along.
And no matter how good you are, you're not owed a living in this business, are you?
No, exactly. Well, you're not owed a living in any business. And you know, if you want what you want, then go out and get it.
Well, I think you're fabulous. You're delicious. Look at you. Summer Strallen, thank you very much. And say hello to your auntie for me.
I will.
She's one of my favourite people.
I will.
And good luck with the show. The Sound of Music is on at the London Palladium. Doesn't that sound marvellous? And you're the star.
Yeah, it's not too bad.